Returning to the show today is JUNO award-winning singer Crystal Shawanda. Since the last time we spoke, she released the powerful new album Sing Pretty Blues, which has just earned a 2026 JUNO nomination for Blues Album of the Year. We're talking about the music, the stories behind it, and her journey through blues, soul, and you got it, country. Crystal, welcome back.
Thank you so much. So good to be back. Thank you.
It's absolutely amazing to see you again. It's great to have you back on the show. What's been happening in your world since the last time we spoke?
So much, so many changes. We just released a new album this past year, and it was the first album back on my own record label, New Sun Music. And so, going through those growing pains and been on the road a lot, playing shows and just enjoying the this new music that we put out there. Very exciting and all the nominations and stuff.
Yeah, we talked about this before we jumped on air here. Your album Sing Pretty Blues just it shows how versatile and powerful your voice is. And I think that the phrase I'm using this season to Meet Me for Coffee, it's the sixth season. And we've had some powerful singers on here already. It's balls to the wall power. And it's like maybe we should just do a whole thing about power singing. Um,
That's cool.
you just earned a 2026 Juno nomination for the Blues Album of the Year. What was your reaction when you heard the news?
Oh, I was so excited and so grateful because there's so many great blues albums put out this year that I honestly didn't expect it. I was like, there's no way we're gonna get in, with all this great music. And I actually stayed up the night before they made the announcements because I wanted to sleep in because I hate how nervous I get. And then so I was sleeping and my husband came and woke me up and he's like, "Hey, wake up. You just got nominated for a Juno Award for Blues Album of the Year." And I was just like, "What?" I couldn't believe it. I cried because, like I said, this was the first release back on my own label. And, we went through so much these past few years. My longtime manager agent, Rob Patty, passed away. And, we were together for 14 years, which is like a lifetime in the music business. Like nobody stays together that long anymore. So, it was quite the accomplishment, our friendship and how we all became like family. And so learning how to do things without Rob, it was a big task. So just a lot of relief. I felt a lot after hearing about the nomination because it's like, okay, we have support from the music community and we're doing okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, Sing Pretty Blues reflects the good, the bad, the healing. What kind of life experiences? I know you mentioned that your manager passed away. Uh, shape these songs. Obviously, that helped shape the songs as well as a bit of a tribute. But any other influences?
Yeah, definitely. I keep saying that this album is, the all the songs, they all have a commonality of strength and resilience, and it's a journey. It's about trying to find the courage, to feel joy again. It's like we're allowed to feel more than two things at once. We can grieve and also be happy about other things, and that's something that I had to remind myself of the past couple of years because a longtime fan friend of mine passed away. Um, and we knew her since she was a little girl. She used to come to my shows, like when I had my first big country hit, and she would come and see my husband and me, and she would ask us to sign her hat, her shirt, her hand, and then she would get a hug from us each, and then she'd go to the back of the line so she could do it again, and she would do that like 5 times at every meet and greet, and so we knew her since she was a kid. We watched her grow up. She went from being a fan to a friend to family, and even visited our home in Nashville. So unfortunately, she struggled with addiction and she passed away. And so it was the song, I recorded the Black Sabbath song actually, Changes. And that was kind of my tribute to her because that was a song that helped me a lot. I kept listening to it, and it was kind of like my medicine. It helped me through the grieving process. And then last year, my nephew also overdosed, and my nephew Jules. And so again, the song just kept continuing to be medicine for me. So there's a lot of that within this album for sure.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry to hear all that. It's hard to get over things like that. But I've always said that music is some way an escape. And by the way, your version of Changes by Black Sabbath is much better than Youngblood's.
Oh, thank you.
Because
Youngblood,
he
he's pretty
sang it
cool.
like, Ozzy would, but
Yeah,
you
yeah,
did
for
it
sure.
differently. As a tribute to a friend you lost, I really felt that. And
Oh, thank you.
the first single, Would You Know Love, is really emotional. Obviously there's a story behind that song. I want to know. I want to know. Can you please tell me?
That song is just, it was written by Sonny Tackett, who's just this brilliant songwriter. He's like a hillbilly poet. He lives in a holler in eastern Tennessee and, drinks, gets his water from the mountain water, like real hillbilly, right? And he wrote this song and he just writes these brilliant melodies and old school sounds. And he lets me get first pick of all the songs I want to record. And so this was one of them. I just love it. I think it's an important message. I think so many people give up too easily these days on love and what's important, and it's so easy with social media and with the swipe left and swipe right culture. It's like it's so easy to look somewhere else and think, oh, and to just turn your back on something that's real. So I think there's a lot of it that's happening and I hear about it all the time. And and my friends talk about experiences they have. You think something's going good and then it's not. And it's happening with both men and women. So, I feel like this song has a good message in that way where it's going to help people see what's important. Because I know for me, when I look at my life and I think about people that I wouldn't have, opened my heart to if I didn't recognize what real love is. I would have missed out on some real good stuff.
Absolutely. It's your song Stop Fucking Me Around, Funking Me Around. I was my radio in my car because I always listen to this stuff in my car when I'm driving and whatever. It didn't fully show me the whole display of what this song was called. And I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be pretty sassy. And then I started listening to it and like it's funking me around. And it brought some attitude. And was that about reclaiming independence in your life? I mean, like in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't necessarily have to be within a relationship. It could be any relationship. I hate it when people play with feelings and like, if you mean it, say it. If you say it, mean it, and don't, I think like whether it's within a relationship or friendships or even business relationships, it's like there's so much, fake um and it's just, and so that's what the song's about. It's like, just stop.
Yeah, yeah. I'll stop right now, but we're gonna go back.
Right.
We're gonna go back to the mental health thing, and addiction affecting communities back home, especially in your home, Manitoulin Island, and it's all over Canada and all over North America, especially. How important is it for you to shine a light on those issues through music?
Oh, it's very important. It's like you said, it's everywhere. On my Facebook feed, I'm friends with people from north to the south, east to the west, and I see people dealing with it. Mothers worried about their children, brothers worried about their sisters, on and on, right? And the long-term effect of like all the kids who are either being raised by their grandparents or aunts and uncles. Kids never get over that. Like, even if somebody who's struggling with addiction, even if they think, oh, they'll be fine, they're being raised by loved ones. No, it affects them forever. Because I raised two stepkids who, their mother struggled with addiction, and I watched how it affected them forever, So I working with music, being able to show people like, hey, you're not alone. So one of the songs in the album is called Dirty. And it was written by some songwriters here in Nashville named Mitzi Dawn and Charlie Worsham. And they actually sent the song to me when I was still doing country music, when I was just switching from country to blues. And so I felt like I couldn't record it. But then then the addiction thing, it went from happening to people I kind of knew to friends to family members, cousins. And then when it hit my nephew, who I was very close with. I was there the day he was born. I took care of him when he was little. I sang songs to him when he was a kid, like we were bonded. And so he was struggling with addiction for a couple years. And so in my mind, it was like, I'm going to record this song and he's going to hear it and it's going to be what he needs to push him to get well. And then unfortunately, a month after we released it, he overdosed. And so it becomes even, like I know what I'm talking about. It hit about the impacts of drugs and what it's doing to our communities and our family members. And so music is again what has helped me. So I couldn't sing it for a long time. I just recently started performing it again, and I'm forcing myself to do it as a therapeutic thing. I even did a music video for it, and because I know it's going to help people to hear it.
You got to keep performing in music because you're meant for it. And well, we need you. I mean, at least a few people need you. That's why, every time I see your name go across the ticker, I'm like, hey, I know her. I know her. She's freaking Shawanda. Wicked voice when I was working back in country radio, and I remember it. The role music played for you early on in your life, it actually made a drastic difference, especially when you're on the path. Uh, you mentioned about brothers, and your brother introduced you to blues while your parents played classic country. And looking back, do you feel like your music today is where those two worlds kind of finally meet?
Yes, absolutely. That's like absolutely. I was very lucky that I grew up in a house where everybody listened to all styles of music. There was just good and bad music. It didn't matter what the genre was. So my parents, they listened to classic country like Johnny Cash and Patsy Cline and that kind of stuff. And then my oldest brother listened to blues music and he listened to like Muddy Waters, B.B. King, Etta James, and he really connected with it. And so that was my introduction to blues music. And then my other brother listened to he was very eclectic. He would listen to Steve Earle, Dwight Yoakam, but then he listened to AC/DC and Black Sabbath. And so I'm a product of all of those sounds because I listened to them, and my family, they had really good taste and they had very high standards as far as vocalists and musicians. And even though they themselves are not professional musicians, they know what's great. So I had amazing singers like Ozzy to mimic, and Etta James. I was like, wow. And like Mavis Staples, and hearing all these amazing voices. And even Loretta Lynn, when she was in her prime, she had this very powerful voice. So I was lucky that I had a family that introduced me to all those sounds. And I feel like all those sounds come out in my album, my newest album. I feel like I'm not trying to hide the country part anymore. I'm back to, like, yes, this is a part of me too. These are all parts of me.
I was speaking with another country artist earlier this weekend, and we were talking about being bound by genres. Like, where the creativity for musicians sometimes is streamlined, and they're taught to only be within that border of that genre. But it's cool because there's a thing happening right now where everything's kind of meshing together in country, rock, blues. All those fans are headed for this big pinnacle moment that it's all acceptable, man. And it's going to be amazing. Uh, I know this is pretty special to you, but you've had some great success with the RCA Nashville label. But
Yes.
later you fully moved into the blues, and like, do you realize the blues was really where your voice actually belongs? Or because I think that's how I see it. It's like this is your spot, and you built your career on your own terms with your own label, and that's just so important for an independent artist to hear that. Uh, the Junos are coming up, and this album is out in the world, and it's exciting people, and it's exciting you, I can tell, and it's exciting me. Like I might have to, I'm a down after I get off this mic, but I did listen to this record, and yeah, I'm gonna have to call a window salesman. Like this, it just blew the roof off this place, and it was great. My wife loved it, and people just enjoy it. It's an easy listen. It's got some powerful vocals. But what excites you about the next chapter about of Crystal Shawanda's career?
I think I'm really excited that I've been allowed this little slice of pie that I have, where I've kind of forged my own sound now, like when I first became a blues singer, I was trying to prove how blues I was. And now I'm gotten comfortable in my own skin again. And like I said, this recent album, Sing Pretty Blues, it's blues, but it's like you hear those country influences that's like Southern country blues or blues country. I'm not sure which of those, but something like that. So the new album that we're working on right now, we're just in the studio and we're writing songs and we're recording and trying things out. This album is even more in that direction. It's like, okay, I did this album, Sing Pretty Blues, where I was all the parts of myself and I got, a Juno Award nomination and 3 Canadian Blues Music Awards. So that means I'm being allowed to be myself. So this next album is going to just continue to be more myself, but without being as careful about it.
Hey, you know what? This is a great moment for you, and I wish you all the best. And I hope you win this award. This is going to be so cool. I'm going to have to watch, whether in person or at home on my couch. I'm not sure. I'm a bit older now, and I chase kids around all day, and yeah. So
I can relate absolutely, but I don't even at this point I don't like I feel like I've already won. I would be proud to lose to anybody in that category that I'm with. Like I said, I'm just so grateful for the nomination, and at this point, I just want to. Me and my family, we're gonna go because
yeah.
it really was a family affair. My husband Dwayne, he played the guitars, he produced, mix engineered the album. And then our daughter Shawanda, who's 9 years old, she sang on backgrounds on several of the songs on the albums, and she performs with us live everywhere we go. She sings with the backgrounds, and then she does 2 songs by herself, and then we do a duet together on stage. And so we're gonna dress in matching outfits, go to the Juno Awards, and celebrate this point in our life.
And it's an amazing accomplishment just to be nominated for this award show. It's going to be prestigious and it's going to be fun. Lots of people there, lots of connections, perhaps some colleagues of your own, universe. It's reconnections, new connections, media, and it must feel great. It's like your birthday. It's like your special day, for your
Abs-
accomplishment.
Absolutely. That's the biggest thing is like catching up with everyone, right? And it's the other artists, but also like you said, media on the red carpet. Like there's some people like when I get to see them, I'm so excited to catch up because it's been a while, So it's always good to see everyone. It's a great night of music, of Canada's, greatest and some of the greatest in Canada, and it's just an honor to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for enjoying another sit down talk with us. I'll meet you for coffee. Crystal Shawanda, always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.